The film basically covers from essentially 65 to 75, and I think that decade is the right decade for that era. I mean, I think it was a little bit slow getting going, and then once all those artists started flooding from the East Coast to Los Angeles, and specifically to Laurel Canyon, and the Troubadour, of course, being the anchor for all of that movement. Obviously in the earlier years, that was, absolutely ground zero of that moment. And I think that as other people came in, that they sort of came in and found the scene that had been established and tried to carry it on. But then the second wave of artists, I don't know that they were more ambitious per se, but they learned more about the music industry and they came with goals in mind, like the Eagles specifically. I mean, Glenn wanted to be a rock and roll star and be in a rock and roll band that was successful. And that ethos, I don't think, had been part of the earlier scene as dominantly as it was with them.
This says Laurel Canyon is a mountainous neighborhood within the Hollywood Hills West District of LA.
Oh, that's cool.
It later developed into a celebrity enclave. The remote, rugged nature of the land and its proximity to many of the movie studios in nearby Hollywood made it an ideal location for many movie stars to site their homes, especially during the golden age of Hollywood. Yeah, the period is also referred as the studio era. Hold on, there's a little bit more back there. By the 60s, the neighborhood had become a local center for counterculture, which is what we're talking about now. And many prominent folk and rock musicians moved into the area, making it a nexus for musical collaboration.
Now, we all know how to ride a wave and sit back to some good vibrations of the Beach Boys.
You guys hear it?
Yeah.
That does sound good. But the beach is just one destination that spawned a sound. Head down Sunset Boulevard until you get to the 2-mile stretch called the Strip. You are now at the epicenter of the LA sound and historic music venues. The Doors at the Whiskey A Go-Go, Elton John at the Troubadour, late nights at the Roxy. Keep going down Sunset into the heart of Hollywood, and shining like a beacon to every emerging music group is the iconic Capitol Records building. Shh! If you listen closely, you can still hear a music executive say, "It sounds totally organic." But if Hollywood was the epicenter of the LA sound, a 10-mile city south of downtown became the match that lit the fuse for a new version of hip-hop. Compton, California, where natives Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and Ice Cube told us about the strength of street knowledge. From street corners to beach parties, from mountains to beaches, the sound of music echoes into the folklore of Los Angeles.
So I see this interview with Frank Zappa where he's like, in the old days, the music executives, they were like big fat dudes with smoking big fat cigars who knew nothing about the youth. So they just let the artists go and be wild, do your thing, because I don't know. And then after the fact, these companies would get these young hipsters trying to be in tune with what's what, and then they're forcing and creating a narrative for the artists to do what they wanted them to do.
I believe in sacred places, and I believe that it's a sacred place.
That strip is like where you leave and where you come back.
This is where it all started, you know.
The feeling is still there. It's a very, you can almost taste it.
It was about titillation and sex.
Hollywood itself is a magnet, has great feminine appeal, sexual appeal, and the Strip is kind of the personification of that.
Your dreams can start out there and your dream will end there, if you don't watch your shit. You will die that night, and it will be because of whatever dream you're chasing.
Because my aunt lives there. That's why I went to visit her.
Oh, right. You have family there.
I do have family there, yeah.
Is she still there?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I have cousins there, lots of cousins.
Wow. We should do a podcast. We need to do an interview.
Yeah, lots of cousins from
that'd be cool, eh?
Yeah,
we should do an
LA
interview.
for sure. Yeah, one of my cousins is a doctor, and
Well, there you go. Let's talk to him. That'd be cool.
It's a girl.
Or girl.
What? Hold on here.
Years ago, what they called rock and roll was kind of a blending of those two forms. And I guess what's happening now is that rock is kind of dying out, and everyone is going back to the roots again. Some are going back into country, and some are going back into basic blues. I guess in 4 or 5 years, the new generation's music will be, it'll have a synthesis of those two elements and some third thing. It'll be entire, maybe it'll be, it might rely heavily on electronics, tapes. I can kind of envision maybe one person with a lot of machines, tapes, and electronic setups.
Pretty accurate.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Using machines.
I wonder when that interview was taken, because he looks
It's the end of
pretty old and haggard.
Yeah, and he was only like 26 probably.